add the following language to the end of that motion. Basically, also conditioned upon improving Walter Long Road from SR 88 up to the entrance gate to Walter Long Manufacturing and a cul-de-sac being constructed at the entrance to Walter Long Manufacturing. The road will be brought up to township standards with the intent to be dedicated to Union Township. This was a previously agreed upon agreement for NVR proceeding with the development with Mr. Walter Long, and it was new information to me, so up to this point, we were not reviewing the plans, looking at the road going all the way up, only to the turnoff to the Mineral Beach plan. So basically what this motion will have is when the applicant resubmits with all the requests we've asked for the phase one plans, it will also include the full Walter Long to be evaluated as well to make sure it conforms to township standards.
Now, I received a call from Rick just saying he had an issue with that, and he was at a meeting where all the parties supposedly agreed. Brian, you agree?
Aaron Brenzel was there. Yeah, I wasn't there, but yeah, I sent the actual signed agreement to Sean. He called me an hour before the meeting. I sent it to Sean. So
No problem with the amendment to this motion. You okay with that, Rick?
yeah.
So Gary, is there a problem adding an extra sentence to the current
No.
existing motion under the agenda law?
No.
Okay. Okay, so, I would like to make a motion to approve the Mineral Beach Phase One preliminary and final land development approval conditioned upon satisfying Harshman CE Group's letter dated October 26, 2021, and also conditioned upon improving Walter Long Road from State Route 88 up to the entrance gate to Walter Long Manufacturing, and a cul-de-sac being constructed at the entrance to Walter Long Manufacturing. The road will be brought up to township standards with the intent to be dedicated to Union Township. That's the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Eskin?
Yes.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dev?
Yes.
Mr. Brannick?
Yes.
Item 17, approve deny Mineral Beach PRD modification request for a minimum 21 feet cartway. The township code requires a 24-foot wide cartway. Board thoughts?
My thoughts are it should be 24 feet. The development across the street is 24 feet, and that is what our ordinance says. That's my thought.
Any other
Chuck?
thoughts?
I agree.
Can I
Do
make
we
a
know the reason for the
What?
request?
Well, Walter Long Road already exists, right? So Walter Long Road already exists. The
It's a
road,
private road.
correct.
Okay.
And it's gonna be brought up to standards. And to the intersection of the Mineral Beach plant. From there going north towards the church and to Walter Long, it's gonna be the same, it's gonna have the same traffic and number of cars on it as it does today. So-
My understanding, though, is we were told, and the board agreed on taking that road over if you improved it to township specs. I can remember walking it with Chris, the church, the two Long representatives, and the only thing I wanted to add, I said I wouldn't have a problem, instead of a cul-de-sac at the top, a hammerhead, if the board agreed to it. It was supposed to be public road the whole way up, not go up and then back down.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not gonna be public, but I'm just saying is, why are we gonna widen a current road from the intersection up if no additional traffic's gonna go on? It's the same as it is today.
Cause this is what our specs are, 24 feet.
So what's everybody else think?
I agree with you. If you're gonna do the road, you're gonna put a proposing a cul-de-sac at the end. So what are you gonna do between that, where the entrance goes into the housing? And up to Walter Long Road, it's gonna be 21 foot. And then down below it's gonna be 24 foot. You're gonna put a cul-de-sac in. How much more work is it gonna be to put that extra 3 feet all the way up to the cul-de-sac?
Is there some infrastructure gonna be moved or utilities?
You're gonna have to put in a whole road subbase for that 3 feet, the whole way up.
Because
Currently, the road through there is probably not 21. It's not, we're already widening it some, so we'll actually be widening it from, it probably averages closer to 18 or 19 feet through there. We'll be widening it out to the
What
21.
about cross drains and catch basins? They gotta be put in?
The catch, whenever I walked it with Rick, when we walked it that day, the intention is to leave the catch basins basically where they are, the location wise where they are. We'll have to probably move some out to account for the widening of the road to 20. Our intention would be to widen it to 21 feet instead of 24.
I disagree with that. If you're gonna leave the catch basins where they were, then you'd have to widen the road to the low side.
Well, it
You
depends
can't
on
leave
where
the
they are.
catch basins where they are if they're gonna be in the middle of the cartway.
No, yeah, we'd adjust the catch basins either way. If we widen to the high side would have to move. If we widen to the low side would have to move.
Would it be advisable, is this something that I would like to table unless this is, it really,
Yeah,
I'd like
we
to
can't.
look at it.
I'd rather just make a ruling. If it's 24, let's make a ruling on it, because we need to get moving.
Yeah, we're gonna get moving with this thing, it's on dragging.
Any thoughts, Sean?
I'd like a point of clarification as well with this modification, whether it's Walter Long or the PRD, both, one or the other. Just that way, when we're reviewing the plans, we know if the modification is granted, does it apply to the whole thing, does it apply to pieces of it? So,
Our request would obviously be for the whole thing, but if it's more satisfactory to the board, we'd request from the intersection of, did name that road, I can't remember what we're actually calling it,
Mineral Beach Boulevard.
Mineral Beach Boulevard to the top.
I think we're making a mistake. We're going back to what the 40-year boards did. Just do whatever somebody wants to do. The guy across the street had to improve Hidden Hollow. It was probably only 14 feet wide. I just don't think it's even fair to him to make a lesser road. I just think, myself, I think it's better to have it to a township spec and keep the specs to township. That's me.
It is a good point.
I'll go with the
It's a good
majority.
point. What do you say, Gary?
It's your decision.
Okay.
One other thing I'd like to put, I'm assuming you want a cul-de-sac, not a hammerhead.
Correct.
I think that's a good trade-off though. If we wanna make this thing 24 feet all the way up, we're gonna spend all that money on paving going all the way up there, and it's gonna be no different traffic from the intersection of Mineral Beach Boulevard all the way up. The only thing that cul-de-sac's gonna be used for is for the salt truck to turn around. No one else is gonna turn around there. So can we make it hammerhead?
I agree, that's what we discussed. When
Let's
we
say
got
that.
first started.
Okay.
We made some different agreement with Walter Longley.
Yeah,
No.
Compromise on it?
because the right of way will actually go to Walter Long's property, so obviously if he's using it, he's accessing, the same thing with the church, anybody going to the church will be accessing the top end of the parking lot to go into the church, they won't be turning.
I think that's a fair trade.
So rather than a cul-de-sac, we'll put
It would be a hammerhead that the salt truck would back up to.
It's gonna be 24 inches or 24 foot then, right?
It'd be 24 foot with a turnaround at the top. What's the
The
issue?
the issue with the hammerhead just falls back to liquid fuels for the township, if it ever becomes a township road.
How
It's gonna be a township.
It is.
How so it falls back? You mean
You
in a
need
good
to
or
have the
negative?
cul-de-sac at the end of it in order for it to qualify for liquid
So
fuel.
doesn't have to
hammerhead
be
is
so-
not an option.
But hold on a second. The intersection of Mineral Beach Boulevard and 80, and as it comes up Walter Long and it turns into the development, that's all gonna get liquid fuels because it's going into the development. You have enough length. The issue we're talking about is from the intersection of the new road to the top. I don't know if you have enough length to even qualify for liquid fuel.
I'm not sure what the length is, yeah.
Like $50 a hammerhead.
It's minimal.
I agree. If they're-
Gary,
I agree to the
liquid fuels
hammerhead,
wouldn't be that much
24
money
foot with
from-
the hammerhead.
If they're willing to make a compromise.
And let's just be clear, a hammerhead is a turn on both sides.
That's right.
What we need to do is a turning template that the truck can pull up Cause he can pull towards Walter Long, he can back in and then pull back out, so it's a half hammerhead. It's not a full hammerhead, Rick knows what I'm talking about, because he doesn't need to pull in and back, he can pull past it, back in, and pull right back out.
Basically to Walter Long's gate,
Yes.
back into it, and
Correct.
then turn around, come
I
back out.
like to compromise myself. I really do.
You'd be there the first notice, Mr. Lee.
I got it. Can I apply for the road crew?
I don't have a problem with that.
So I'm gonna default to you, the roadmasters, cause I would probably really watch this up, this motion.
Here's the thing, basically, the motion is being revised. Based on what I'm hearing, the developer is withdrawing their request to reduce the cartway from 24 to 21, so long as the township will agree that a partial hammerhead would be at the end of the road at the top of the Walter Long private road, in the church area, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's where it would be.
We'll be ready to.
That's basically revising.
Right.
More than likely, we'll actually probably incorporate the church's driveway going up over the hill.
I mean, since the road has been an issue in all of these requests, I think it's appropriate with the consent of the developer to eliminate the request that the cartway be reduced by 3 feet in exchange for them being able to install a partial hammerhead as opposed to a cul-de-sac. Now, since that is changing the wording, although it's part of all the land development applications, I would open it up to
Okay,
public
yes,
comment.
I agree. And does anybody have public comment on this one agenda item? No?
You can motion.
I'll probably botch it up, but I make a motion to deny the 21-foot cartway, to keep it at 24 foot as our township ordinance, and have Walter Long Road from 88 up to Walter Long's gate, 24 foot wide, be improved to township specs, with a half a hammerhead off, so when either side is easier to put it in.
I'll second that.
Gary, is that sufficient?